Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Welcome to another live show. Welcome to James and Turkish, exploring the question, has the project gone bang? When did this come up? This came up very recently. Was it in Forever Arsenal? Somewhere we
I think
about...
full-time reaction after the game.
Maybe it was.
I remember you mentioning it with, I think, was it Kwame?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I'm not sure if it was one of the comments in the chat, one of the people watching, but yeah. I think
Right.
it's a relevant topic to discuss now, considering we're in a break. We're top of the league by 5 points. That quote comes from about 18 months or so ago.
So how long ago? Wow.
Because I'm pretty sure that quote was before last season. I think it was midway through the season before last.
Yeah, the disaster season, yeah.
Yeah.
Good time to pull that out when everything's going terribly. It's like, listen, don't worry. We'll soon be 5 points clear going into World Cup.
Yeah, imagine.
But yeah, okay, look, let's just ask it. Let's ask it really bluntly. Let's not skirt around it. Guys, send us in your thoughts as well. Has it gone bang? Is this what he meant when he said the project will go bang, that one day it will all click, it'll come together, people understand what he was trying to do this whole time? A lot of people will say they saw it before. A lot of people now are sort of starting to go, oh, okay, I know, I get what this is all about now. And is this the moment he was talking about? A level of consistency in performance that reaches, 12 wins out of 14, one draw, the one defeat, drop points in 2 games we easily could have won and maybe should have won. Is this what he meant?
Well, look, Jack makes a good point here straight away in the chat. He says the simple answer is no. Once they win trophies and the league, then it will have banged. At the moment, it's just a spark, nothing more. And I understand where that's coming from, but at the same time, surely this must be what he meant by the project going bang. I don't think he meant, a league title being the time when you look back and say this is what he meant.
Yeah.
Because at this point now, I don't think any of us would take a dip, a drop off. I don't think any of us would take a November in 2020 anymore. I think it was off the top of my 2020, if I'm not mistaken. That terrible run of fixtures. Yeah. So this must be the point where it's gone bang. 5 points clear at the top of the table. Best start to the any Premier League season ever for Arsenal. So if it's not bang now, then I'm not sure when bang comes.
Final question. We've got 12 wins. Do you know how many games it took the Invincibles to get to 12 wins? This shocked me, by the way.
How many games it took the Invincibles to get to 12 wins? It's just going to be a wild guess. 12 draws over the season, 12 wins. Let me add 6 draws, 5 draws across them. 17 games?
You're so close. It's 18.
18, yeah.
To them 18 games to get. Like in my head, they must have started something, because I was very young. I didn't really watch any of that season apart from my dad every now and again forcing me in front of the TV. But in my head it must have been this grandiose start, a bit like the one we've had now. But actually, yes, we were undefeated, of course, but it was 12 wins and 6 draws. I dare say, if we went on to no, because we've lost a game already. The point I'm making is, while being unbeaten by that stage is obviously very impressive, that's quite a lot of draws in there by that point. Although, I guess 18 games. But anyway.
Can you imagine we didn't lose that game to United and we went into this World Cup break without a loss?
Even just 12-2 would have been 12-0.
Already people are talking about league titles and so on. If we didn't have that loss against United, I'm sure the invincible card would be being pulled out and what if, maybe, and so on. But I think we could do without that pressure. There's a lot of pressure on us now being 5 points ahead. If Manchester City were 5 points ahead, majority of fans will say, they've wrapped the league up, they're going to run away with it. And this ain't me saying the same should be said about Arsenal, because I get it with Manchester City. The levels they've set over the years, if they were to go 5 points ahead of most teams, aside from Liverpool, maybe even Liverpool this season, then you'd bet your house on them winning the league. With Arsenal, it's a bit different. We've gone through some patchy times, to say the least. So us being 5 points clear, I'm still hesitant to even entertain a title challenge, but we're there. We're there.
No, we are, and we get 6 weeks to enjoy it. When you use the term bang, in terms of the project and it coming to life, it felt to me like he was very much talking about the start of the exciting times, not the trophy collecting. So I'd say Klopp's project went bang as they were that Champions League run to the final in 2018. So the wins against Roma. Actually, I know exactly the night, beating Man City 3-0. Or you could say in the Champions League, or when they beat Man City 4-3 at Anfield. One of those, because City were unbelievable that season. That's the best Premier League side I've ever seen. And I think, I think it's that moment. Now, I don't think we can point at one game. Could you say it was when we beat Liverpool 3-2 at the end of the season? You can see the Chelsea performance away. I don't think they're necessarily the moments, but I think this general period we've had these last 2-3 months is that, collectively making, that's the bang in the project. That is when everyone stopped and went, okay.
That's it. It's more you look back and say that's when it went bang. So even what Jack said earlier about the league, if we was to win the league this season, or we was to finish second and then win the league in the 23-24 season, that wouldn't be the project going bang then. We'd look back at the start of this season and possibly around now and saying that's when the project went bang. Yes, we finished second this season, but then the season after we built on that, we won the league and so on. So it's more in hindsight, you look back and you say that's really when the majority started believing again. That's when we really started kicking on and forgetting the shit past and moving into a brighter future. So we're in the moment right now. We can only hope that this is the project going bang, because if this is the project going bang, then the next 18 to 24 months are going to be glorious. You'd hope. You would. Look, it's making me smile.
Okay, there's still a lot of work to do for Arsenal. Nothing's done. Nothing's guaranteed. Top 4 isn't guaranteed. Although we were talking about it the other day, we're feeling very confident about it.
I think it pretty much is. It would take an almighty collapse for us to lose it, and I'm not saying that can't happen, because we've seen us collapse before. We've seen other teams collapse. But that's where you keep your fingers crossed and hope that the project has gone bang and we don't look back again.
What we're doing is we're getting to a point in terms of the amount of wins we've got on the board so early on where Arsenal could actually be average/poor between now and the end of the season and probably still get top 4. The reason I say that is because Man United still have to make up 11 points on us. Newcastle have to make up 7. Tottenham have to make up 8. Liverpool have to make up 15. Brighton and Chelsea. Sorry. Need to make up 16. So it would take for Arsenal to be, as I said, poor /
Just off topic. Remember when Mel, the Tottenham fan, said something about Brighton? Who was the teams? Brighton. Was it Brighton, Fulham, and them, man?
I think it was, but in fairness, she's a Tottenham fan.
Yeah, but they're either side of Chelsea now. I might have to use that against Matisse tonight. Sorry, I'm just looking at the table now.
I think you might have to. I
might need to get the phone to Skullfoggery and say, hey, change up the lyrics. We're in.
So Matisse, poor guy, has been getting it today. We've got a brand new show coming out on AFTV. 3 shows, the same show, but 3 parts coming out this week. So look out for that. Matisse was on top form. And KG, I don't know, were you in the room?
Yeah,
KG,
I was listening. It was jokes.
Absolutely finished me. He said something like Ronaldo's not happy, the jacuzzi's not jacuzzi. Then he said the club chefs made the same jacket potato since Fergie.
Twitter's having a listen. I've seen some about Sancho as well. I've seen a good few about Sancho took a shot, it hit the person behind the goal. Ronaldo asked him what the hell was that, and Sancho was too busy saying hold that to the fan. Or something. Obviously I haven't worded it great, but I'm going through Twitter and there are so
many. Everyone's having a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of memeable material from that Ronaldo thing. We'll touch that properly in a sec. But yes, new show coming at AFTV, so look out for that. But anyway, the point I was making is it would need those teams that are, let's just go from 4th or 5th, right? Who are 8 to 11 points, no, 8 to 16 points behind us to be consistent enough. Basically, there needs to be a 6-game swing for Man United to catch us. No, 8-game swing, because you need Arsenal to drop points 4 times. You need United to keep up the same amount of results and then add 4 more on top. So that's the kind of gap we're opening right now and have opened going into this World Cup, and we should be immensely proud of it. But people now have got eyes on other things, which are the title. But top 4, we couldn't get it done last year. You're hoping Arsenal. Yeah, it's a good looking table, isn't it? That just feels good. you're just hoping Arsenal sense this opportunity to build on it. And speaking of, it looks like Mudryk's been having some stuff to say. Did you catch the quote?
Yeah, apparently he done an interview with Zinchenko's wife. Is it his wife? Or is it someone related?
No, it was.
Well, yeah, the surname's Zinchenko, so I'm assuming that they're linked in some way, shape, or form. Vlada Zinchenko on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, that is her name.
Yeah, so yeah, that's who the interview's with.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, it is Zinchenko's wife. Yeah, and not apparently, he makes a huge admission. I've got some quotes here. Shall I get into it?
Yeah, please do. Actually, just before you do, I've just seen this update from Ray on Twitter. Now, I don't know if you saw, but Melina, who was on AFTV very recently, she's a massive Arsenal fan in the
From US.
from Canada. Yeah. She's a massive Arsenal fan, really kind of involved and engaged in the Arsenal online community. I've only just seen this from 3 hours ago, so I can't believe I missed this. But Ray tweets, "Have some amazing news, guys. Miss Melina is awake and on the road to recovery. Her family cannot thank everyone enough for the prayers and messages. And from me to thank you for sharing the messaging and praying. You go, girl, so happy." She's retweeted that, Melina. Now, Melina was suffering with pneumonia and was in hospital. And, got very serious, but she's on the road to recovery, as mentioned there. So that is the best news I could have had today. So I'm really, really happy. Melina was fantastic when she came on AFTV. And her fan cam title, if you find it now on AFTV, was "We're going to smash Chelsea." And that's exactly what happened. So fair play. And she got some artwork over to Granit Xhaka very recently. So
I saw that actually.
Yeah, really cool. So this is someone who is like die-hard Arsenal. Honestly, she is like absolutely so committed. She got me on a live stream back in March, so I'm delighted to hear that she's doing a lot better.
Good.
Let's go through. Should we do super chats very quickly?
Go on then.
Super chats.
Got a few coming in.
Alia Stoney says Arsenal should copyright.
Copyright,
trust the process. Yeah, well, they're all saying it now. Chelsea, United fans, even some Tottenham fans. I think you've got to trust the process.
Everyone wants the process now.
Conte needs time. Graham asks, Turkish, will you apologise to the Kroenkes?
For what? This ain't like Mikel Arteta or Edu. I doubted Mikel Arteta and Edu in terms of turning it around at Arsenal, and from what they're showing me, they've turned it around. They've given us hope, belief. I know they haven't turned it around in a major trophy sense, but for a football fan, you want to hope, you want to believe, and they've brought that back. With the Kroenkes, I think I said to you the other day, if we go to win a league this season and then they go and buy some players and then we go and win a league and we win a Champions League in the next 5 years, does it make me wrong about the last 15 years? It doesn't. They dragged us through the mud for 15 years and then they used the full ownership thing as a clean slate. I didn't give them that clean slate. At the end of the day, credit to them for trusting in Mikel, credit to them for sticking by Mikel through some of the worst periods I've had as an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
Credit is all they get because we're coming back to square one. And square one is Champions League football. Most Arsenal fans that got frustrated with Wenger, got frustrated with the ownership, it came when we was in Champions League.
Yeah.
It's not just about being in Champions League. It's about building hope, belief. All of those years, we pretty much knew at the start of the season, we'll make top four, but we're not going to do anything other than that. Lo and behold, we make top four every season. We got a few FA Cups in between.
Yeah.
Fair, but I'm never going to be wrong about this era and the Kroenkes. Credit, yes. Sorry, never.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Look, I actually will send a message to the Kroenkes. You know what? Get us on the middle camera there because I want to. I hear what you're saying, Turkish, but from me, I do just want to say to the Kroenkes, Turkish is very sorry. He is very, very sorry. He was wrong, and he's trusting the process.
And look, here's a new question: do you forgive them? No, I don't forgive them. This 15 years, I don't get it back. I'm lucky to still be alive and see this hope and belief come back in the side. Over those 15 years, how many Arsenal fans have we lost? So at the end of the day, I don't forgive them. I'm not going to apologize to them. But I'm hoping that they are changing or they have changed. And we'll really find out about that once we're back in Champions League. There won't be an excuse of we haven't got Champions League money, so we can't spend this or we can't give this or we can't get that player. Full steam ahead now. Arteta, Edu, apologies for doubting you. Kroenke, do your thing.
We'll see in January. Dave Jordan says, Gary Neville now expects us to get fifth. We're making progress. Soon we'll be in his predicted top 4. Madav says, how would you guys feel if we used the majority of our summer budget to push for the title and then probably only got max 2 players in the summer? I'm all fine with that. I think Arsenal have got to the stage of their squad building side of the process to where actually I don't think we need to have summers where we're signing 3, 4, 5 players. I think it's about, okay, we did 3 in the summer, fine. I think we needed 1 more minimum, maybe 2. But then 1 or 2 in January, 2 in the summer, 1 or 2 in January, another 2 in the summer. You're constantly just replenishing a little bit because we've got our core. No one's sitting there going, God, Arsenal need a whole new core. They know Ramsey will get out, Yeah. Everyone's happy with the core. And actually that first 11, and even the 2 or 3, maybe 4 that can come in, Tomiyasu, Tierney, Vieira, that kind of thing. So add Smith Rowe to that when he comes back fit.
Yep.
Add 2 signings in January. Add 2 signings in the summer. Patino returning from loan. That's now 9 players that you're looking at that can play a part in the 11 and hopefully you're ready for Champions League. So I don't think it's about, some crazy summer and would I risk it not being a crazy summer for January to be brilliant. I think Arsenal, apart from the crazy summer, was actually the Ramsdale White one, coupled with this one where we managed to get the Jesus and Zinchenko over the line. Now it's about adding a little bit of quality that can facilitate what we've got.
100%. I completely agree with everything you said. The next 2 windows are massive in an ambition sense. That's why I keep on saying over to you, because Mikel's done great work. Edu has done great work. Will that great work be capped off by the ownership showing different colours? I won't say true colours, but different colours. We hope so. I expect at least 1 sign in January, at least 1. Listen, January is not the best month, in my opinion, to be able to acquire the best talent or the ones you want, because it depends on the team where they are and will they want to lose one of their important players halfway through a season. I very much doubt it 9 times out of 10. But you can pick, we got an Aubameyang 1 January, we got a Reyes 1 January, we got a Arshavin 1 January. So we have got big players in January over my lifetime at Arsenal, but the summer's really when you do your thing. Bring in at least 1 in January. Ideally, for me, it'd be 2, 3. But I also don't want you to potentially overspend or misspend in January chasing something and then having that cost you in the summer. We've done really well in being paid. Well, I say we, maybe not as fans, maybe not myself, cool. But as a club, there's been a lot of patience with Mikel, a lot of patience with Edu, a lot of patience with the signings as well. So more of the same.
Yep,
more of the same.
Harvey, big up Harvey. Sends up his video. He sends his videos in for full time. Always got great insight on the analytical side of the game. He says Xhaka came off with vertigo from being top of the league for so long.
I see that tweet as well.
I love that. All right, sorry. So I've left you hanging there for ages. But there is another one.
Yep.
Sorry, Ash says Mikel's first ever job. Broken dressing room and fan base. Horrible squad. Elite talent ID. Great playing style. Only £300 million spent on a new squad.
It's mad when you put it like that.
He had a lot. He absolutely had a lot to deal with, and he's fronted it well. And he's I think I look back at some of the decisions, and I look at the squad we've been left with because of the decisions that have been made. And you if anyone, I had doubts about the Ozil stuff. I mean, I largely backed Arteta, but you do wonder, played that good really? And the Aubameyang, you think to yourself, you watch the documentary All or Nothing, you think, did he need to be left training alone? But whatever result we've come to, it's a squad that I think is in a better place than I've seen any Arsenal squad since the league title winners.
100%.
I think so, across the whole pitch. Yeah, there was
100%.
always, my dad and I had this thing where we talk about Arsenal. Remember that thing they always say, Arsenal 2 players away. They're just 2 players away. But it really always was, like, whether it be, for a long time we had Bakary Sagna, but then I felt it went on a little too long and we needed to add a little bit there, and the centre-back partnerships. We never, even if we had the numbers at centre-back, we didn't have the quality. And then when we did have a little bit of quality, we then didn't have the numbers to cover.
Yeah.
This is the first time in ages where, sure, I think the depth is lacking. But look at the first team, I'm like, there's no player out there that I worry about. I look at the whole first 11 and I'm thinking, yep, every single one of you deserve your place and are playing a massive part in what the team's doing.
Yeah, I mean, what you alluded to there with the Arsenal are 2 players away every window, every season. That goes back to what I was saying. I can't forgive them for that. I won't forget that. I won't be apologizing for any of that. But please learn. You know, if what you're saying about the full ownership thing is true, yeah, then the only way is up from here. You know, from 2018 onwards, yes, we've spent quite a considerable amount of money. Maybe not in comparison to the rivals we have in the Big Six, but they need to really look at it now and say, you know, their other franchises have been winning stuff. If they really want Arsenal to now, well, now is the time to really focus on us. You know, prioritize us at the top. You know, take care of us for once in their lives.
Someone mentioned Balogun in the comments. I forgot about him. You can make that the 10th player who's also doing really, really well on loan at Ream, and you know could be adding goals and some depth up front. I know we are going to come to those quotes from Mudryk. Anthony said, if we sign an unknown player like Tommy and Vieira, would you be happy? Would you only be happy with a statement? But Tommy has been immense for us, and Vieira I don't think was. Listen, a lot of people didn't know about him, but like he came with 34 million, right? So if Arsenal make an 18 million pound signing like Tomiyasu was, and a 34 million pound signing this January, I'd be like brilliant. Yeah, that I'd love us to go get Mudryk for 50, 60 mil, but at least that would show some investment. I'm sure they've earned Edu and Arteta have earned my trust that they are doing everything they can to add the right pieces to this squad. And if they don't do it, I'll believe there's a reason why they didn't do it.
And they're doing it in an efficient way. That last super chat, that mentioned 300 mil. I think it's between, 350 mil he spent. When you really look at that over what would be 3 years this month or December, I forgot when he actually came into his role, that's not a lot. And you
that's
look
50 million a window.
You look at Chelsea, how much they spent in the summer, 270. You look at United, how much they spent in the summer, 220. And you know they're still crying out for more money to be spent. And that's one window. One window for Ten Hag. Well, I say Potter hasn't had a window yet, but he's picked up a team that literally has just spent 200+ mil on the first team squad. So you know, when you put it into perspective and add context to it, 350 million from where we was to where we are now, he's done an amazing job.
Let's talk about Mudryk and these quotes coming out.
I've got them here.
Sorry, someone just stumbled on something on Twitter. Apparently, Dylan, a friend of mine, says he's a huge fan of Vlada Sedan-Zinchenko's wife, concluding an interview with Mudryk by saying she hopes to see him again in a different environment, and caps it all with a "Come on, you Gunners, sensational agent work." I'll click on that video a little bit later to have a little look. But give us some quotes, give us the highlights from this interview.
Well, this is the first quote I got from it. I'm on Football London right now. We got Football London, and it's been a long time since Arsenal's name has been mentioned alongside these teams. And you know, he says Napoli, they're playing really well at the moment with some great players. Bayern, Man City, and Arsenal.
It's good company.
I got to get used to it. And he also...
Did you hear Ronaldo's quote when he said, we're not acting seriously like Man City, Liverpool, and even Arsenal?
But with that, I just didn't know whether that was one of the ones people are chucking in there for banter or whether it was a serious one.
I think it was serious.
Yeah, cool. We'll take it. We'll take it twice in a week, twice in a few days. Twice in 2 days. Long may it continue. He also adds,
massive.
I check in on them on my score. I know when they're playing. I can check in on them. I also watch them too. A very dynamic side in general, not just controlling possession, but also in scoring goals. There was another... Wait, here we are. And later on in the interview, he also said, from a purely hypothetical perspective, if there was the option of being a bench player for Real Madrid or a starter for Arsenal, I'd probably choose Arsenal. It's a tough question and involves a lot of factors in my answer. I would first want to know from the head coach that even if I wasn't a guaranteed starter, that I'd receive a chance. Essentially, I need to hear directly from the manager what he envisages my role in his side to be. I love that because it's not him demanding first team. It's saying, you know, I want the next side to be able to give me a chance. And when he mentioned the manager and a vision and so on, then listen, Real Madrid are Real Madrid. Great side, always competing for top honours year in, year out. But it has been messy over there for a few years now in terms of incomings and the way they've kind of been running, you know. They're on their knees for the Super League, so who knows how that's going to work out. Real Madrid are a massive club, bigger than Arsenal Football Club. I'm not doubting that. But we are in a time where, for a young player who's got a good 10-15 years of football in front of him. Why wouldn't you want to join this rather than maybe a pressure cooker environment at Real, where they're going to expect from you from day one, and if it doesn't work by day 20, you might be getting, you know, booed and ridiculed and questioned no end. And don't get me wrong, Arsenal fans are guilty of that as well, but the pressure at Real Madrid is far greater, in my opinion, than the pressure at Arsenal.
But that's interesting. I think we've seen evidence of some young players being smarter with their choices, knowing, A, believing themselves to play at a certain level for a prolonged period of time, but B, thinking to themselves, I don't need to, at the age of 18, 19, go straight to Real Madrid and then pray it works. Martin Odegaard is an example of someone who he just couldn't, you know, crack his way through there. And ultimately, I guess, listen, I'm never going to say it. Some people would say downgraded to Arsenal. Of course, in terms of club stature, the fact that he wanted to make it work around Madrid, I've been disappointed for him. Now he's wearing the armband at Arsenal and he's thriving and playing the best football of his career. You know, I think there is evidence that players are trying to avoid that kind of disappointment, trying to be a little bit more calculated with their paths in life. Now, I'm not saying that Mudryk should come to Arsenal and treat it as a stepping stone, but he might think, and I wouldn't take any offence to this, you know what, for 4 or 5 years, I can go give them my all, I come in for 50, 60, and I go for 120. You know, that for me, I don't really have a problem with that kind of thing. I think it's all about replenishing and going again and restarting all that. So, you know, we've seen it with Jude Bellingham, went to Dortmund. We've seen it with Sancho, went to Dortmund. Yep. And there was the option for Bellingham to go straight to Man United. Haaland, we know Real Madrid wanted him. He's gone to City, but there's a feeling that that's a 2-3 year thing before Real Madrid.
That's what I was going to use, yeah.
So
I mean, you know, there's not much shame in that. There's a handful of clubs that, through history and power and name, like Real Madrid, or Barcelona, Man United, that over the years, you know, it just made sense for good players, exciting players, to go there. Barca, United, they're nowhere near the same level that I'm used to, you know, seeing them at. Real Madrid, even, you know, not as bad as Barca and Man United, but it's not the same anymore. And if a team like Manchester City, who's dominated the Premier League over the last however many years, don't mind Haaland using them as a stepping stone, which essentially, you're right, that's what is happening. You know, there's a lot of rumours about 2024, whether that's true or not. Best believe Haaland will be moving on in a few years. He's kind of etched out his career path quite well, in my honest opinion. I think he's made the right choices. However, if I take it back to when he signed for Dortmund, I think United were closest to signing him. Yeah. From what I know, from the people I speak to, and you know, the people that say they know stuff within the club, Man United didn't want a release clause in there, and Haaland wanted that release clause to give him the security that, you know, in a couple of years I can move on. Dortmund were more than willing to give him that release clause. You know, I look back and look at United now and I think, well, you could have done with someone like Haaland coming in, even if it is for 2-3 years. I look back at that time and I said, listen, use us as a stepping stone. If there's any chance, what was it, 17 mil he went to Dortmund for? Why not? You know, 2-3 years, hopefully he can elevate us, and then we can continue, you know, building off the back of that. But he went Dortmund, good choice for him. He's gone Manchester City now. Best believe it's Real Madrid and whoever else next in line for him. So there's no shame in a quality player potentially not. When you say using as a stepping stone, it comes across a way. Yeah. But the reality is, you know, there's a path.
Well, it makes you sound unambitious. What do you mean? Why would you want a player that's going to come that's ultimately going to leave? Well, because that's the cycle of football now. Like, ultimately, your legends and your favourite players, they're not actually going to stay the duration. They're just not going to.
Henry went Barcelona.
And look at all the years that Eden Hazard gave Chelsea, ended up in Real Madrid. You know, like, that is just unfortunate.
Vieira went Juve. Yeah. And, you know, at these times, those clubs were looked at as bigger, better, you know, more history behind them. So when they eventually went, they done their bits for Arsenal, and they're legends. Yeah. So it's like, go on, enjoy yourself. I'm glad Henry won a Champions League with them. I'm
happy for him too. Yeah,
he's an OG, and that was the one thing that people used to knock him for.
I know. I don't need rival fans being like, Henry never won a Champions League. Yes, he didn't win it with us, but anyway, we move. Let's go through some super chats. Very interesting quotes from Mudryk. Let's have a little look. Jason says, the depth may be lacking, but do you think the fact that we have more players that can play in multiple positions allows us not to need many more incoming? Jason, I think in short, I think what you're saying, yes, makes sense, but it's just not applicable to Arsenal. So I think you either have 22 players, one for each position, because that's where they play, or you have like 18 that can all cover multiple positions. therefore you kind of just get by. I think that's what City
There's
really
certain
do.
positions that you need, there's certain positions on the pitch where you don't need a man that you rotate. That you need a specialist. Even if I look at Man City, who rotate a hell of a lot, Rodri, there's no replacing him. Fernandinho over the years, that's a position where, like, I'm talking about Thomas Partey. I don't see anyone rotating into that. We've seen Xhaka in that position before, and we know that story. So I don't even want to see that again.
Yeah.
I want to see quality next to Partey, behind Partey, rotated with Partey. I don't want to see someone that, 8 and a 6. I'd rather see a 6 come in. Specialist, can cover, can push, can rotate. In the front line, you can get away with rotating and fluidity and all of that, of course. But there's positions on the pitch where you can't. It's like asking, can you, rotate centre backs? Ideally, no. I think Manchester City have kind of found that out this season. Pep's been rotating his centre backs quite, more often than usual for me.
Yeah.
And they've slipped up here and there. There's certain positions you just don't rotate. You need specialists for.
Don Robbie's Death Stare says, we'll hold a fat L if we get injuries. We need some depth in Jan that is a viable to fit in at defensive midfield. I can't deal with this glorified Maitland-Niles at 6 anymore, bro. I can't. Is he talking about Lokonga?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Sounds like it.
No, Lokonga, I'd like to see him just either go out on loan or get sensible minutes in the 8 position. That's really it, really. And then hopefully we've got the quality, then he can develop nicely, and one day he'll come in ready and he'll do what Reece Nelson did the other day, and now everyone's mind is changing a little bit.
One thing I've also liked about Mikel, and Edu, probably more so Mikel here, is, with Arsene Wenger, and obviously I'm going to compare to Arsene Wenger because he was the manager for the majority of my life. Players would come, underperform, fail. He'd give them another chance. He'd give them another chance. He'd give them another chance. I'd look at like Chelsea, for example, over those years. Bakayoko comes in, it doesn't work out the door the next year. I was looking at that thinking, listen, you can make signings that don't go hit the ground running. But what do you do off the back of that? You don't just sit back and hope for the best. You try and fix it. Now with Arsenal over the last few years with Arteta, Willian came in. A lot of criticism. Willian didn't do his thing. See you later next year. Tavares comes in. Didn't really work out for him. See you later next year. I know it's only a loan and maybe there is a future here for him. I doubt it when you look at that position now. So I assume he will be sold. Similar can be said for a lot of players. I just think, with Lokonga, probably didn't get enough chances last season to make Arteta's mind up. But I lean more towards see you later if it doesn't work out come the end of the season than I do loan out. Because at that age, loaning a player out, I just don't. What was he, 23?
Yes, I believe
he's around 25. I think being loaned out at that age kind of tells its own story.
24? No, he must be 23.
Even if that'd be even worse.
Yeah.
So for me, it's 23 turning 24. Let's say. I don't think you loan a player out at that age, but I'm sure the chat will hit me.
Sorry, no, last season was 21, 2022. This season 22, 2023.
Oh, so a bit younger than I thought. Let me just confirm that quickly, just so I know. He's 23, just turned 23 in October.
Oh,
yeah, so I just don't think that's the age to be loaning a man out. I think you're essentially saying nah. But then actually I'm wrong, because you might loan him out to increase his value again if you think he can perform better at another club. Like Tavares, I think if you tried to get value for him this summer, you might get 10 mil. It seems like he's doing well over where he is. So we might get 15, 20 out of him.
Yeah.
Pepe, I'm not too sure how it's going for him. But if we tried to sell him last summer, we would have done well to get 5 million for him. But, potentially next summer we get 15.
All I know is that Pepe and Lacazette both scored penalties in the same game. So I think that was Lyon versus
Nice.
Yeah. There we go. Football heritage, as they say. Aston Mac, big up Aston. Hope you're well, man. Hope everything's good. Says Pep spent more than Mikel and Edu have on just fullback. Just
fullbacks, I guess, in general.
Yes.
The Kyle Walkers and.
What project is more exciting than Arsenal? Stan and Josh spoke about wanting a statement signing. Let's see what that means. Yeah, let's hope you're right.
Is that what they spoke about, Aston? Thank you, because that's the standard I'm going to hold them to.
Yeah, rightly so. Adam says Odegaard is a perfect example, Real or Arsenal. Yeah, I mean how that went for him. Ash says Mikel doesn't buy anyone who only plays one position. Sorry, I'm hiccuping throughout that. But
who bought Partey?
Sure, but I also still think he could play kind of box to box. I know what you mean. I'm being pedantic. I mean more like
fair. That's fair.
roles,
That's
but
fair.
yeah.
That's fair. In a double pivot, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, I get what you're saying actually. Young Gunner says, love from Toronto, strengthening needed in January. With FFP in mind, Tielemans would be smart business, and with Smith Rowe returning, a winger would be good. It will feel, imagine a central midfielder, a forward of some kind, and Smith Rowe back. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's three. I can Vieira getting a bit better, you know, and develop it. But you
Mudryk,
know,
Tielemans, and Smith Rowe back would be amazing for us coming out of January.
yeah.
Well, actually, Smith Rowe's due to be back December, so hopefully he's ready for the kickoff of the second half of the season, because that would be immense in itself. Someone off the bench that we look at and hopefully get some goals and creativity out of.
Yeah, Dave Jordan says Rafael Leao. Listen, if we could get Rafael Leao, you know, I don't think it'll happen because they've still got the Champions League to battle with Tottenham, but that's the kind of player I get really excited about. I think he's direct, he's powerful, he's superb on the ball. He can play across the front line. Yeah,
there's a few forward wingers out there that I'm sure a couple of teams that have got more resources and stature than us will go for, but that doesn't mean the other one won't help us. For example, this summer just gone, I think Leao was head and shoulders above a Mudryk in the eyes of the majority. Now people might be leaning towards a Mudryk. You know, if someone was to pick up a Mudryk, then let's go for a Leao. If someone picks up a Leao, a Mudryk. There's also other wingers out there that, okay, they're not maybe a Diaby, you know, they're not the same level of hype maybe. But I think there's enough out there for us to dip into the market and improve what we have at this moment in time. Mudryk is essentially the one we want at this moment in time. But who would turn their nose up at a Leao or one of the others out there?
I hear you. Rai says, Turkish and James, good show as usual, and I've got to admit I'm starting to believe we can win the Premier League now. But the Kroenkes have to put their foot on the gas now. 5 points clear of City, I can't complain. Black Caesar says Zaha and Tielemans are the only January options that make sense due to expiring contracts. Arteta also needs to improve his tactical flexibility when missing key players. Trossard you could put in that list as well. I'd be happy with any of those names that have been mentioned. Let's round off the show by just quickly getting an opinion on the Ronaldo stuff. You know, there is a show coming out on AFTV where we talked about it. As I mentioned, there's a new show coming, and KG, listen, he had a lot to say, and it was really fantastic actually hearing his input and everyone else sort of bantering him with it. But look, why on AFTV would we talk about the Ronaldo stuff? I think because it's another Big Six side. It's a club that are going through something that we've had before with a new manager. I don't think we've had quite this level of drama around a player. But we've also had our fair share of drama around players. It's all really bubbled over, hasn't it? Boiled over is the word.
For me, listen, a lot of fans have laughed at us over the years. Laughed at Arsenal, laughed at us fans, laughed at AFTV, laughed at clips,
I see where this is going.
Viral clips. So it's our turn to laugh. So why not bring it to the channel and talk about it? You know, those fans were here laughing at us. Now, you know, stay here and watch us talk about your club. I wasn't on the show, but listen, I don't give a shit. I'm glad to see another team, and if there's any other team I'd pick, it'd probably be United to go through a similar situation we did. And I say similar, listen, it could never be Thierry. Never be Thierry. And not so long ago, a lot of United fans would put Ronaldo up there and try and argue his point when you're talking about the Premier League. It could never be Thierry. I want to see them argue that now. But for me, I love it. I love it. You know, when they kept hold of him, or whether when he dug his heels in, whatever happened in the summer, whether it's him digging his heels in or him or the club keeping hold of him, I think we all kind of assumed it wouldn't go well for them. Yeah. It wouldn't go well for them.
Pretty safe assumption, isn't it?
Yeah, and now look at it. So laugh now. What was that? What did that politician say? Laugh.
You all laughed at me.
You all laughed at me. Who's laughing now?
Well, you're not laughing.
We waited long enough as well, but here we are.
Oh, Nigel Farage. Oh gosh. Yeah. You know.
Fuck that guy as well.
You know my theory on this Ronaldo stuff. Everyone talks about, did he want to leave? Was he told he'd have to stay? I actually think it's simpler than all that. I think he said, I'd like to leave. They said, all right, if a sensible offer comes in, you can go. And either a sensible offer never came in, or an offer that Ronaldo wanted to take never came in. I honestly think it's that simple. I think that's actually the hardest hurdle is there going to be a club that are up to the standards that Cristiano Ronaldo wants, that are willing to play him week in, week out, pay him what he wants, can compete in the Champions League. I just honestly don't think that club exists. It could have been Ronaldo if Messi weren't there. Otherwise, I don't.
Napoli was the one most linked in the summer.
But again, like they're doing so well. They got Osimhen up front.
They got Raspadori. They got Simeone. They've actually done well.
I honestly think he's not left because no one that he wants has wanted him. I honestly think it's that simple. I don't think it's United, because I hear all these debates online. Well, Ten Hag told him to stay and want him to be a part of it, but I don't think Ten Hag was ever that bothered. I really don't think he was ever that bothered about whether Ronaldo was going to stay on. I think he thought, well, if I keep him, great. Let's hope his attitude's good and I'll get a load of goals out of him. If I don't, cool. The project can move on.
Yeah, but it was a risk, and I think it was one not worth taking, especially when you've just brought in a new manager and you talk about a big reset, because we all saw it. I think even United fans saw it unraveling if they kept hold of him, and here we are. But I guess it gives Ten Hag a chance to, similarly to Arteta, a chance to flex, a chance to stamp his authority, a chance to, not prove his worth.
Oh, he's coming out the better, I think, at the moment.
100%.
Yeah, I think he's coming out the better of the two. Hits44 says, what's good with our FFP? No issues for January and summer, not that I'm aware of. Jason says, by the way, shout out to all the content that the both of you are putting out. The watch along without a game to watch was great. Well, thank you, Jason. I'm glad you enjoyed it. The read along you called it, didn't you? Yeah, that was a good fun, actually. That's when I've now had people sort of messaging me on Twitter being like, yeah, so are you going to be playing a new Pokemon game? I'm like, yes, I will. Mark Arthur says, oh, sorry, have you got one there?
No.
Mark Arthur says, I would love to see a conversation between Josh Kroenke and King Turkish, #must-see TV. Ash says, Ten Hag messed up massively by not getting rid of Ronaldo a few weeks ago, made him captain instead. Arteta showed Eric what to do with problem players. No, I think Ten Hag, I will defend Ten Hag. I don't think the captaincy thing was great, but then also no club is taking the captaincy. Listen, Maguire's the club captain of Manchester United. I don't think Man United need to be worrying too much about the whole captaincy thing when it comes to Ronaldo. However, I think he did the right thing. He punished him, and for what happened against Tottenham, and he didn't train and all that, and apparently they resolved it, and he brought him back in. I think that's the way you do it. You punish when they do bad, and if they resolve it, you bring him back in. So I don't think it was a case of he should have been really hard-headed and said, no, you're no longer here. Yeah, well, not when the window's not open, not when it's so early in his project. He's tried to get a little bit more out of him. Now it's all done. Yeah.
It's all done.
Well, I think in January it is, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Good time in the interview. I guess it leads up to that. So
Miles away says, I wish Claude could see this team now.
Yeah. Legend, rest in peace. One of the fans I had in mind when I mentioned earlier that over the 15 plus years that the Kroenkes have been in charge, we've lost diehard fans. We've lost fans that deserve to see what we're seeing now, and not only what we're seeing now, but to see more moving forward. So I'll never forgive, I'll never forget, I'll never apologise, but I'm here willing to see if they've changed, and I think that is more than fair.
Claude would have loved to see. It's weird actually, because I joined 2 years ago and I never met Claude, but I think we'd have had a lot in common because his family's Italian, right? Yeah. So that would have been nice, but he it's weird. I never met him. I feel like I know him from the Arsenal sense because of watching the fan cams and watching so much of the content he did. But I've got no doubt he'd have been over the moon.
He'd be enjoying right now. He's looking down, enjoying now. Yeah,
of course he is. Absolutely. Guys, we're gonna pretty much leave it there. We've covered the Ronaldo stuff. Has the project gone bang? That's the question we're asking. There's a question that I think we'll answer a little bit also throughout these World Cup weeks. Then we can do it lots of ways with the supporter club. We've got the tactical insight kind of special that Graham and I are going to put together, looking at where things have gone right, the key players that have played a part and all that, and we'll indulge and we'll enjoy this, and then undoubtedly keep an eye on what's going on the transfer front, because this Mudryk stuff, it's all timed in a very interesting way, isn't it? Apparently he was asked would he be disappointed if he doesn't get a move this January, and he said,
I keep on saying too good to be true, and I've been saying that about results, but it just seems that we've done so well, and as soon as the Premier League goes for a break, we're 5 points clear. Mudryk is doing an interview, apparently we're willing to spend 50-60 mil. I need to get to terms with this. I need to see it before I can really start kind of trusting the ones above again. I need to start seeing this, and I'm seeing it with the results. Let me see it with the window. If we can get Mudryk in the first week of the January window, tell me the last time we've done that.
Yeah, no, we can't. We haven't, as far as I'm aware.
Obviously, there's a difference between the first week and the 31st.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I mean. There's also a difference in proactive, reactive, waiting. You know, sometimes that can cost you. So I'm enjoying it. I welcome the break. I think it's, you know, a lot of people are questioning the break. Is it good? Is it bad? I welcome it. I think it's good for us. You know, reset, focus, get back to business. Imagine we can just get one big name over the line in the first week of the window. Massive for Arsenal.
Harry asks, Turkish, if you meet Josh, this Josh Kroenke, what will your questions be? Let's get one question from you. What would you definitely ask? One question.
One question I would ask. I'd probably go back to Arsene Wenger. And so you put me on the spot here, but I'd have to ask them something about that era first and foremost. Whether they, and it's probably a question they won't answer, but whether they put the blame on Arsene Wenger during those times, or whether it was because they wasn't full owners, because they've also mentioned that they never denied Wenger funds, but they've also mentioned that, you know, we took full ownership in 2018. So which one is it? Is it that you waited for full ownership before you invested, or is it that you had money to invest and Wenger said no, because Wenger was very stubborn at times? So that would probably be the first kind of avenue.
Clarity on where things went wrong around there.
And then I'd build off that. But if I ever had the chance, then it's better I speak to them now than 5 years ago, because 5 years ago it probably wouldn't have been a civilized conversation. But at least now, you know, I've learned how to hone in my emotions a bit more and articulate myself a bit better. So, you know, I'd corner them on a lot of subjects. And I say them, I'd want Stan there too, you know, because Josh is just the new face. I want the old face there as well. So I'd corner them and see how they wriggle out of it. But like I said, I'm willing to see if they've changed.
Yeah, fair enough. Listen, things are changing for Arsenal and in positive ways. They're going the right direction. They're going to Christmas. 5 points clear, top of the league for the first time since something like 2013. Something like that.
But let's not forget that it's not the same Christmas as it has been over the last how many years.
I know.
Usually Christmas is.
I know.
You can imagine that. Let's say it all unravels in April. People are like, "Oh, you're the first team top. You're the only team top at Christmas that doesn't win the league."
It should be about 18 games played by now.
Yeah, 18 to 20. Yeah.
All right, guys. We're gonna leave it there. Big thanks for joining us. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Check out all the new content coming out this week. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and of course, AFTV doesn't stop here just because it's the World Cup now. We'll be covering the World Cup. We'll be covering how the Arsenal players are doing, and we'll be covering it on DR Sports as well. So go subscribe there if you haven't. Go check out Talking Tactics I did earlier with Matisse. Go check out Big Six later tonight. Someone's asking if Big Steve's on it tonight.
Nah, Hugh's back in. And Steve laughed about Hugh being back in as well, but nah.
Poor guy. Fair enough. All right, we'll leave it there. Big thanks. Catch you on the next one.
Love.